What's up, everybody? Michael Walsh here. So today I want to talk about Islam Makhachev ostensibly gaining 11 pounds of muscle, okay? Because I was listening to the Weasel, and he was reporting that apparently Islam's coach claimed that Islam had gained 11 pounds of muscle. And the Weasel seemed to accept that figure pretty uncritically, which is very silly because I'm here to tell you that didn't happen. Islam has not gained 11 pounds of muscle, okay? Now, the debate I saw in the comment section was kind of whether it's no, he didn't mean 11 pounds for this camp. He meant in the last year as he went up to welterweight. Either way, and let's be generous. Let's say that they're saying he gained 11 pounds since going up to, since the journey began to move up to 170. That's during that time he gained 11 pounds of muscle. That would also be bullshit. There's no way that happened. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down a little bit for you guys. I don't care what happened. I don't care if Islam has been blasting gear this whole time. If ever since he moved up to lightweight, he either hopped on the sauce or upped his dose or whatever. I don't care what he's doing. He did not gain 11 pounds of muscle since going up. There's no way that happened. Okay. The way this works, you have diminishing returns with everything, and you have other parameters, other restrictions, okay? Islam Makhachev has been lifting weights for a long time. He's been doing resistance training for a very long time. He's already a pretty well-muscled dude down at lightweight. If we're taking Islam from a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever, he already is a well-muscled dude, for his division and frame and everything. He's already a strong guy. I've seen him hit some pretty good numbers in the weight room over the years. You do not keep making these leaps after you've put that much time in. Okay, if you've been weight training for over a decade, you do not make these dramatic leaps where you suddenly I just added 100 pounds to my lift, or I just gained 10 pounds of muscle. Whether you're powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever kind of resistance modality or sport you're interested in, you do not make those kinds of leaps that far in. Okay, there's diminishing returns. It's an asymptote, right? There's a big rise early, the beginner gains and all that, and then as you become an intermediate onward, that starts leveling off, and then eventually all but plateaus where you've just got you're just trying to squeeze every bit of juice out of that sponge, trying to tap every wee little bit of potential that hasn't yet been tapped. And don't get me wrong, there's another factor at play here that keeps Islam from quite being in that category, because ordinarily he would be. If you were just someone like Islam who's lifted for that long, you wouldn't have that much left on the table, right? Your gains would be diminishing. They would be incremental. They would be smaller and smaller and smaller, right? It would be regressive. So that's under ordinary conditions. This is a little different because Islam is in a sport where he cuts weight and he moved from one weight class to another. So yes, if he moves up to welterweight, he doesn't have to get as shredded. He doesn't have to have the same caloric deficits. He can probably put a little more energy into the weight room and make some gains. That's all well and good. And I don't doubt that he has gained some strength and muscle since going from lightweight to welterweight. However, 11 pounds of muscle is very dramatic. That is a huge amount of muscle. You are not doing that. Okay, you are not doing that even with that perk of getting to eat more and hit the weights a little harder. It doesn't matter. He's not gaining that much. And I'd go a step further and say it doesn't even matter if he's using steroids. And if he upped his dose or started using or whatever, and if he did, I don't care. If you watch my channel, I don't care about PEDs. But even with that, you're not gaining that much muscle. It's not realistic. And what makes it further unrealistic is the nature of his sport. He is in a sport that is very laborious. The day-to-day training for an MMA fighter is quite intense, and it's more endurance and cardio focused than it is strength focused. And whilst there's almost like a boogeyman to be made out of cardio training by powerlifters and by some bodybuilders, people who are terrified that, if I do a little running, my muscles are just going to atrophy and shrink away. That's not the case. You can do cardio and do weight training at the same time and not totally like hurt the latter by mixing them. There is a limit to that. You know, if you want to like maximize your potential as a power lifter or a bodybuilder and you want to simultaneously like be a triathlete, good luck with that. That's never going to happen. You know, at that point they will interfere. But doing a bit of cardio, you know, doing some additional training on top of your weight training, that's fine. You know, I think a lot of fat powerlifters have convinced themselves in the past not to do that. I think that's more mental gymnastics than anything, just to avoid the hard work of the cardio that they don't enjoy. But if you're doing what Islam's doing, if you're a professional fighter, you do so much fucking cardio that it does interfere with your strength training. It interferes like physiologically, like your body just can't maximize those things together. But additionally, it interferes in terms of time. Like you just don't have a lot of time to do a full extensive strength training program if you're an MMA fighter. Just listen to like Phil Daru. He's like one of the most notable S&C coaches in the MMA space. He's the S&C coach for, I think, American Top Team. He worked with like Dustin Poirier and Junior Dos Santos and Johanna Jędrzejczyk and Edson Barboza and guys like that. And he's created a lot of content and he's talked quite a bit about this kind of stuff. And he talks about it. He says, like, look, it sucks if you're an S&C coach, strength and conditioning coach. It sucks if you're an S&C coach in MMA because you get so little time to work with these guys. You know, I would like to give them this like full comprehensive strength and conditioning program, but I only have so much time to work with them. They only have so much energy to give me, and I can only meet with them so often, like every week, so I can't give them some full-blown like strength program the way I would if you were just a strength athlete and who wasn't doing anything else. If you were just a powerlifter or just an Olympic weightlifter or just a bodybuilder or just a strongman and you weren't doing MMA, you could commit more time and energy like throughout the week to strength training sessions than can an MMA fighter. They have to do a more minimal, more pared down thing because they've got to balance that time with their Muay Thai and their wrestling and their jiu-jitsu and their MMA classes and on and on and on, right? Like, so you combine these things. You say, look, like these guys just aren't maximizing their potential anyways, as far as like their week-to-week strength training, and that applies to Islam at present, even at welterweight. You combine that with the fact that the amount of endurance training they're doing as fighters, and endurance means like the sport training itself, like all of that MMA, all of that wrestling, all of that boxing, etc. That is a kind of endurance training that interferes physiologically with their ability to gain as much strength and muscle as they can. You take all that, and you take the fact that, yes, Islam has been still nevertheless strength training for probably like 15 or 20 years or something. Yeah, he's not making this profound leap. Even if he hopped on gear, even if he upped his dose, even if he has the benefit of now fighting at a higher weight class, not having to cut as much weight, not having to restrict calories, you know, being able to have more energy to really hit the weights and putting more focus on that, like in between camps. Even with all of that, there's no fucking way on earth the guy gained 11 pounds of muscle within a year at this point in his life, at this point in his career. Just full stop, no way, not happening. Has he gained 11 pounds, period? That I would believe. Like, there's a very real chance he's 11 pounds, just kind of full stop, bigger than he was a year ago down at lightweight, than he was in the fight with Moicano. That I believe. There's no way on earth that that's all muscle. Some of it will be, but more of it will be like water and fat. You know, like that's what he gained. And yeah, he's probably a little more muscular. His muscles are looking fuller. He's probably a little stronger. That's all well and good. But no, if you believe that he gained 11 pounds of muscle, no disrespect, but you just don't understand this stuff. And that's okay. Now, you know, if you don't have a background in that stuff, like, why should you? But I'm just telling you the reality here, because we do live in a world where the fitness community is just rife with bullshit, and where celebrities are rife with bullshit. Like, anytime you hear a celebrity talk about their bodily transformation for a movie role, it's horseshit. you know, because what are they going to tell you? You know, any actor from like The Rock to Tom Holland to anybody is going to tell you like, oh yeah, I just eat 6,000 calories a day of chicken, broccoli, and white rice, and I just do this special program that my coach designed for me, or some bullshit to that effect. And yes, that's how I made this massive leap in a short amount of time. It's definitely that, and not the fact that I hopped on gear, right? So that's like on the celebrity front. But I'm here to tell you that even with Islam, again, he could be on gear. He could be on more gear. It wouldn't matter. It would not make 11 pounds of muscle in 12 months. No fucking way would that happen under this condition. So realistically, again, he gained a little bit of muscle and he gained some fat and some water, and that's it. And he's bigger now. You know, and he feels better and he's stronger. That's what happened. Okay. So, and I don't even care that his coach said that much. That's sort of promotion. That's sort of like to build hype for Islam, whatever. But it is misinformation because there's just no fucking way that's true. And people will believe it. In fact, people in the comment section of that Weasel video were believing it. Because again, what I mostly saw people arguing was whether he did that in 4 months or a year. And it doesn't matter. Neither of those would happen. So those are my thoughts on that. Just wanted to kind of explain that. Let me know what you think down below. Like if you have not, subscribe if you have not. Check out my other YouTube channel if you have not. It's called Michael Walsh Nerd Stuff. And on that channel, I talk about nerd stuff. I talk about comic books, video games, anime, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out. I will link it down in the description box. If not, you just like MMA, no worries. Stick around here. But in any case, take care.